Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And tonight from Miller Park, a battle inside the NL Central as the weekend series continues. The St. Louis Cardinals and the Milwaukee Brewers. Last night, Little Pedro, Carlos Martinez, outstanding, pitching every fifth day, day after day, dominant. Trevor Rosenthal picked up the save, and for Rosenthal, he's now 7 for 7 on the young year. Welcome to Cardinals baseball, everyone. That's Rick Horton. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Adam Wainwright is going today. Yadier Molina not in the lineup, but the injury not expected to be serious, as you heard on the pregame show. So he'll be pitching to Tony Cruz, and Cruz has done a nice job so far.
Cruz has done a great job when he fills in for Yadier Molina. Of course, he's not Yadier Molina, but Adam Wainwright is a guy that knows what it takes to win. He's been a winner throughout his career. I got a feeling he can throw to anybody, but Cruz, certainly his companion here tonight, his job is to follow suit with what the Cardinals starters have done all season long.
Cardinals playing outstanding baseball to start this year. The brats on the grill. The tailgaters in full force. Baseball coming up. The fewest home runs in Major League Baseball this season, the Cardinals with 11. However, last night, as a part of our AT&T U-verse Rewind, long ball a big part of their win. Jason Hayward, his second home run of the year, an opposite field shot. Hanging breaking ball to Johnny Peralta, goodbye into the seats in left. Cardinals rolled to a 3-0 win. Game number 2 from Miller Park, coming up on your home of the Birds, Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. It reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealers for great prices on our all-new 2015 vehicles today. It's still winter here in Milwaukee. It is cold outside. Nice and warm, though, inside. Miller Park in Milwaukee. A tough start for the Brewers. Great start for St. Louis. The Cardinals at 11-4. And here's a look at the lineup for Mike Matheny's club. Carpenter, Hayward, and Holiday in the first. Then Peralta, Reynolds, and Wong. Jay, Cruz, Wainwright. The starting 9 for the St. Louis Cardinals. The Brewers are 3-14 this year. And Willie Peralta gets the call tonight.
Starting pitching has been a problem for them. They're not getting deep into games, and the ERAs are high for most of their starters. Willie Peralta, frankly, Dan, is a pitcher who should be better. He's got very, very good stuff. They talk about him being a number 1 at some point. We've seen him good, but he tends to have a bad inning every once in a while. Gave up 10 hits against the Cardinals the last time we saw him.
The Hyundai pitch arsenal for Willie Peralta. That's this year's numbers, the fastball, slider, and changeup.
Uses his changeup well, I think. Keeps it down, and the slider, of course, a big pitch for him, an out pitch, but he does throw hard, mid-90s. And again, I think the future is bright, but presently he's not a complete pitcher.
Time is called as something is on the field, or the left fielder Davis is asking for something. Not sure what it might be.
There's some glare in left field, and even though the roof is closed, I'm not sure where that glare is coming through the windows. There's actually a window pane that's still partially open, and I wonder if he's asking for sunglasses.
Isn't it great, Rick? You can be indoors and wear sunglasses.
the modern amenities of a dome stadium, but still you need the glasses. Umpires tonight, the crew chief is behind home plate. Dale Scott, C.B. Buckner is at first, Lance Barrett at second, and Dan Iasonia down at third.
One of my favorite stories, Greg Matthews' first day in the big leagues, he was charting pitches in the Astrodome wearing sunglasses, and they showed him up on the screen. We fined him $100 after the game for embarrassing the club, just for fun, just our way of saying hello. He wasn't too happy about that.
I would imagine he was not.
Good teammate, good friend.
A ball to the red-hot Matt Carpenter. 11 multi-hit games. 9 doubles. And that's 11 out of 15 games that we're talking about multi-hit games that he's put together. There's a strike, 1-1. That hasn't happened for the Cardinals since 1920. Rogers Hornsby did it then. And the last to do that in Major League Baseball was Michael Young, who was a terrific hitter with Texas. And that was in 2004. So it's rare to start a season this well.
So comfortable at the plate, isn't he? He doesn't really get fooled with off-speed pitches. He keeps his body back and his hands back.
One ball and 2 strikes. Carpenter overall hitting .387, 3 home runs and 11 RBIs. Willie Peralta was arguably the ace of the Brewers pitching staff a year ago. Led their team in wins with 17. He was 2 innings shy of 200 and had 154 strikeouts. ERA was a run better than the year before, so they believe he's starting to come into his own. The 2-2 is popped up left side and out of play. They've also mentioned that he is a different pitcher and player behind the scenes. A lot more confident. He'll lead some of the meetings in terms of how to approach different hitters in the league. He had very good control last season. Where is that pitch? 95 and just missed. My goodness.
Does it catch the inside corner or not? Maldonado sets up. He tries to throw that fastball coming over the inside corner, and I think Carpenter gets a break there.
Only 61 walks in nearly 200 innings a year ago. 3-2 pitch. Carpenter on the ground to Segura with a short hop and fires a strike to first base. Even the outs, he's hitting hard. Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's defense for Milwaukee tonight. Davis, Parra, and Braun in the outfield. Ramirez, Segura, Gomez, and Lind along the infield, and Martin Maldonado is behind the plate.
5 errors in the early going for Segura, the shortstop, and he just seems a little, although he made a nice play there, seems a little tentative and a little jumpy at shortstop, and made a couple errors throwing the baseball in St. Louis, so he's trying to still get his feet under him here in the season that we're dealing with. A year ago, his offense waned, but boy, he's a good player.
Jason Hayward with a home run last night. Now with 2 this year, he's driven in 4. Overall, he's hitting .212. You know, you and I were down in the clubhouse today, and you see Jason Hayward, and he's mixing in well with his teammates. He seems to be potentially one of the leaders as this season goes on of the team. And then you remember he's only 25 years old.
Very young. We catch him laughing at Adam Wainwright's joke, so I'm a little concerned about that.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. And both those players drafted by the Atlanta Braves and then traded to St. Louis and grew up in the Georgia area. Hayward, his parents both graduated from Dartmouth. That's where they met. And now he's in St. Louis. He rips that down the right field line. That's fair. Turn on that pitch, and the big man can run on his way to second base. Dug out in the corner by Braun, and it's a 1-out double for Jason Hayward. Good to see him turn on that pitch and hit it with authority.
He's rolled over a lot of balls that were outside. He's just kind of rolled them to the second baseman in the early going. Got that one in the middle of the plate a little bit more and hits it hard, right on the nose. And a good finish on that swing. Good crack of the bat. And you mentioned his speed. Long legs, and he can move.
And it brings in Holiday, who's hitting .367. No home runs, 7 RBIs. Out to center. Parham is there. Holiday broke his bat. Hayward back to the bag at second. And it brings in Johnny Peralta.
Danny, I think your point's a good one, and I don't think it can be overstated how tough it can be for a player, especially when they're young, traded to a new team. You know, you think, you envision that you're going to play for the team that drafted you your entire career. You just have that in your mind. You know the scout that signed you. You know all the minor league cities. And all of a sudden you find yourself in a new uniform with players you heard about and maybe know a little bit. But you have to develop a relationship of trust with them. And it takes some time.
Here's Peralta, homered last night. He's trying to become the first member of the Cardinals to have a 10-game road hitting streak to start a season since Albert Pujols had 18 back in 2008. Good lead at second for Hayward. 1-1 the count. I'm sure Milwaukee is ready for the Cardinals to get out of town. St. Louis is 44-20 against the Brewers in the last 64 games. Runner at second, it's Hayward. And a 1-1.
We're starting to notice a little more disdain in certain cities for the Cardinals, and they're kind of getting tired of that. I think Cincinnati, we saw it. We felt that the fans there are just getting tired of the Cardinals coming in and beating up on the Reds, and I think that started to develop here. Of course, the Cardinals fans travel well, which I think makes it even a little bit more picking at the sore and a visiting ballpark. But you know, you got to just keep on doing what you do. See why Chris Davis wanted the sunglasses now in left field. He is severely in a sun field. He's having a hard time. He's got his glove in front of his face out there in left. Thinking ahead.
Earlier start. Hour earlier tonight. It'll be a day game tomorrow. Will come your way at 1:10. The 2-2. Peralta to short. A couple of hops to Segura. And he makes the play. The Cardinals strand Jason Hayward. Adam Wainwright to the mound when we come back. Milwaukee's 3-14 this year. Segura, Parra, and Braun. Then Lynn, Davis, Ramirez, Gomez, Maldonado, and Willie Peralta batting ninth. And that lineup will face one of the game's best in Adam Wainwright.
Back out from under the table. Safety first, Dan. Adam Wainwright. 3 starts this season. ERA 1.71. He's been terrific. The slow start in spring training, I think, made a lot of people wonder whether he would be right on time once the season started. But Wainwright finds a way.
The Hyundai pitch arsenal this year for Adam.
A little less than 50% fastballs. We know about his curveball. He's also using his sinker quite a bit. The velocity is not where it's been in the past for Wainwright. But again, it doesn't really make much difference for him as long as he's making his pitches to spots.
The pitch inside to Gene Segura. 16 different lineups through 17 games for Milwaukee this year. Injuries, a big start of the problems that they've had initially this year. Jonathan Lucroy could be out 4 to 6 weeks with a broken toe. MVP candidate. Carlos Gomez, really the catalyst at the top of their lineup. Great defensive player. He's out with a hamstring. It's sharply and past Matt Carpenter and into left field. Leadoff base hit for Gene Segura. Dobbs Tire Auto Center's defense for St. Louis. Holiday, Jay, and Hayward in the outfield. Carpenter and Peralta on the left side of the infield. Wong and Reynolds on the right side, and Tony Cruz is behind the plate.
There's the delivery from Wainwright and the reaction of Matt Carpenter. Third baseman have to just be as quick as possible, and he was ready for that, but hit too hard, too far to his left. Segura can run.
We'll see if they want to test Tony Cruz in this game. Here's Parra.
After yesterday, though, you wonder if the Brewers are going to be a little safe today on the base paths.
For those that didn't see it, the Brewers ran themselves out of a couple of innings. Poor base running. Just nothing going right for them. Pitching, defense, base running, hitting. The bottom of most categories in Major League Baseball. 0-2 the count on Parra.
And I really do believe that the worst thing you can do is become more tentative. And I said that jokingly that they'd be afraid to run today, but you can't be afraid to run. You've got to press the issue, and you've got to run with confidence. You've got to take chances every once in a while. And I think it would be a mistake for them to kind of just lay back. And Segura runs well. I would test Tony Cruz.
Breaking ball misses low and away. 3 starts for Willie Peralta against the Cardinals here at this ballpark. And then you look at the numbers for Adam Wainwright against Milwaukee. This is a team that, for the most part, he's really dominated. 2.44 ERA in 24 starts against the Brewers. A swing and a miss and a strikeout of Parra on the off-speed pitch. First strikeout for Adam. We turn to Rick Horton's Toyota keys to the game.
Cardinals have been playing well, and the Brewers have not. So my first key is to just get off to some early offense from the Cardinals' point of view. Try to get that feeling back and get that negative feeling on the Brewers as quickly as possible. And the second thought is just to see classic Waino today. Doesn't have to be any better, any different than he normally is. He is such an artist when he pitches. I don't know that you would say that about him early in his career, but he was developed into not just a guy with a great arm, but a guy that really knows how to pitch.
Here's Ryan Braun. That furthers your point about diminished velocity. Doesn't really matter because he's a pitch maker and still can vary up the speeds and keep hitters off balance.
If it's moving to a spot with enough velocity, then he'll be fine. And that curveball, of course, is an equalizer. Velocity, that doesn't matter. The sharpness of the break does.
And Adam has said that he's a little frustrated with the velocity being down, but not overly concerned. There's a ground ball. Could be 2. Carpenter to second. The turn. Oh, what a turn out there at second base from Colton Wong. And there's your double play. Double play started by Matt Carpenter to end the first. Here's Mike Reynolds, the former Brewer.
Talked about third base being a reaction position. You got to move quickly with those feet. And talk about quick. That turn from Colton Wong, that was all upper body. Didn't move his feet at all. Just turned and threw that ball on a dime to get Ryan Braun, who runs pretty well.
Last year with Milwaukee, Mark Reynolds hit 196 in 130 games. Knocked out 22 home runs, drove in 45. So now with St. Louis, his 16. Been with Arizona, Baltimore, Cleveland, the Yankees, and Milwaukee, and now St. Louis. It may surprise some because now in his career, it's kind of an all or nothing at bat with Reynolds. He's going to pile up the strikeouts, but you go back to 2009, he was in Arizona, and only 18 players have done this, but he had 40 home runs and 20 stolen bases. 20 steals would, I think, surprise some folks.
I think in a lot of ways he's the player the Cardinals have been looking for the last couple of years. A guy with some pop off the bench from the right side, dangerous at bat, somebody who could spell a starter now and again and give some experience to that lineup. And you know, the Cardinals are very, let's face it, left-handed heavy this year. And Reynolds becomes an important part, as Randal Grichuk was before he got hurt, of trying to balance out this heavy left-handed lineup.
Adams just 3 for 18 against Peralta, so the Cardinals going with Mike Reynolds tonight. And he draws a walk. So borderline pitch is not going Peralta's way on that at bat. So a leadoff walk, and it brings in Colton Wong.
The second baseman, number 16, Colton Wong.
The more I watch Colton Wong, I think about potential. We see flashes of it. You'll see power. And then you'll see a 2-week stretch where he doesn't hit. Then all of a sudden he gets on a tear. You see the double play that he turned. He can steal a base. When it all comes together, this guy could be some kind of player.
Well, I think it's because we can see that. I think he sees it in himself. His coaches see it. We see it. Any Cardinal fan can see the flashes. I think that helps us be a little patient with him, understanding that he's young and he's not going to be 100% all the time. He's not going to be that player all the time. Young pitchers are like that. But when you see those flashes of brilliance, you're just kind of hoping that someday it all comes together and becomes a little bit more of an everyday occurrence.
In Washington, he said it was the best game he's ever put together, most complete game as a pro. Some dazzling defensive plays, and also came alive at the plate. And Wong shoots this down the left field line. It is slicing and foul. From the University of Hawaii, Colton Wong. Cardinals again with a short bench here tonight. 4 position players carrying the extra reliever. St. Louis has gone to that bullpen an awful lot, despite the fact that the starting pitching has been good. We've seen that bullpen, especially Walden, Segras, Manus, they've been used a lot.
A long time before another off day for the Cardinals, so that bullpen being heavy with relievers right now makes a lot of sense. Not only have they been used a lot, especially the late inning guys because of all the wins, but the games are going to start piling up now.
Makes you wonder about late inning situation tonight, because you've had Rosenthal 3 days in a row. Walden has pitched 2 days in a row. And if you look back at the last week, Jordan has been in 5 of the 7 games. So I think you have a save situation. Where do you go?
I think Segras has to be on your mind a little bit, as well as he's pitched. It'll be interesting if Mitch Harris gets a chance. Been waiting for his debut.
Here's a 1-2 inside. See how aggressive the Cardinals want to be. 2-2 the count. Peralta thinking the same thing as he checks on Reynolds. The Cardinals will go home. 11-game homestand, no days off in that homestand. It begins Monday against the Phillies. The 2-2. Into center field. Parra going back. He won't get it. Reynolds to second, on his way to third. They'll wave him in all the way from first base. Segura fires to third. That gets away. And the Cardinals have themselves a 2-0 lead here in the top of the second.
That ball was smoked by Colton Long, and Danny, I still have to wonder, does Carlos Gomez catch that ball? As good as he is in center field, we saw it yesterday. There was a ball hit over the head of Parra, who's a good defender, more so for his arm than his speed, but Gomez is just such a terrific outfielder. This ball is stung by Colton Long. Down and in, over the head of Parra, and then Milwaukee throws it away, and another error for this team that is just struggling defensively.
John Jay retired for the first out here in the top of the second.
Here's the error at third, the low throw. I'm not even sure Ramirez sees that ball. And Peralta, not where he was supposed to be. He's backing up third, and the Cardinals are still just up 1-0 with a runner at third and one out.
Reynolds was at the bag at second, just about there. But Parra nearly made the catch. And Maldonado can't come up with that.
Notice more and more pitchers not backing up third base, and that's the video you show everybody as to why you should be doing it.
Won the count on Tony Cruz. Now 0-2. That pitch at 96 from Peralta. Adam Wainwright on deck. So it was the base running mistakes by Milwaukee that cost them early on in the game last night. And here in game two, Cardinals aggressive with their base running. Forced the issue a bit. And Segura threw a rocket into their dugout. And Cruz hits this down the left field line. That's a fair ball and into the corner. And Tony Cruz is standing at second base with a one-out double. The Cardinals have hit 2 doubles, a triple, and a 2-run lead.
The defense has been a problem already for Milwaukee. A play not made by Maldonado. Could have been an out, and then a hanger becomes a double. A reaction by Peralta, and as you mentioned, Dan, 3 extra base hits through 8 hitters, and home run can be overemphasized in this game when you've got doubles and triples. That's a power offense too.
Yeah, you and I were talking about that the other day, the fact that the Cardinals are not hitting home runs, but look at their doubles. They're in the top 3 of all Major League Baseball. So in steps Adam Wainwright. The corners are in. Ramirez and Lind. And pitch in the dirt for ball 1. Adam Wainwright, the 29th overall selection all the way back in 2000.
Well, this is what you'd hope for the Cardinals to jump on the Brewers right now. They're struggling because their main leader is Lucroy, and he's out. Foul tip off a toe, broken toe. Their spark, their center fielder, Carlos Gomez, is out. So you got your leader and your spark both out, and you just have to kind of pounce on them while they're down.
Up the middle, backhanded, off the glove of the second baseman Gomez, and Wainwright is out. Advancing on the play, Tony Cruz from second to third. Follow the Cardinals with MLB.com. At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. In-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, all at MLB.com. At Bat.
There's Carlos Gomez. The Brewers organization talk about him as just such a good teammate, and you know, there are some times where he does things on the field that I think kind of bother players in terms of his flair and his style, but he is very sincere about being a good teammate, and certainly plays with a lot of emotion. That's just who he is, and frustrating for him not to be able to contribute. And as I watch his Milwaukee team, they need that spark that they don't have. And it seems to me every ball hit to them, Dan, seems like an adventure right now.
Gomez does a little bit of everything for this team, and looking at that shot, he might give a good mani-pedi as well. Just a thought.
Well, he's making use of his time.
1 ball, 1 strike on Matt Carpenter. And he hits it the other way, slicing, and it is foul. Shake your head at me.
It's not the first time. And I dare say it won't be the last. Today.
1-2 the count. Tony Cruz, a runner at third base. We got to the ballpark today, and we had good news on Yadier Molina. Could see him in the lineup tomorrow. Jim Hayes will have more on that coming up in the home half of the second. It's bounced, and Maldonado somehow kept that in front.
Talked about how much Maldonado loves Yadier Molina and really is an idol of Maldonado. And he wants this ball down, asks for it down, and takes it off the chest protector. Brewers are pretty fortunate, Dan, that their backup catcher is as good as Maldonado with Lucroy out.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Carpenter with that great batting eye stayed away. That's 3 or 4 pitches in the early going that Peralta has not gotten, and you've seen the frustration with him. One of those pitches was on Matt Carpenter back in the first inning, and the one just moments ago. A 3-2 pitch to Carpenter. Here it comes. And a strikeout. A late call by Dale Scott. Wainwright behind the plate. Cruz was on the base pass, so hey, thumbs up. He said everything's good. Jim Hayes, what do you know about Pete Kozma as a catcher?
Yeah, as you know, he's the emergency backup catcher. The Cards are hoping they don't have to use him in that role, but they say he will be ready. Kozma told me he hasn't caught recently, though he has caught before. He said probably Little League, but he wasn't quite sure because he can't remember back that far. But Kozma said, really, he's up for anything that will get him into a ball game, so he was on board with this. He did catch a side session with Michael Wacha today, and Pete told me it could have been easier. He said Wacha only threw strikes, so he didn't get much of a workout, Dan.
Adam Lind at the plate. Jimmy, what do we know about Yadier Molina, his availability tonight, and also potentially his start tomorrow?
Well, as you know, he's got that bruised right knee. He told me there wasn't much improvement from last night until today, but the swelling did go down, and he's hopeful, Dan, that he can be in there tomorrow. He says that's the plan anyway, but we'll have to wait and see.
All right, thank you, Jim. Good stuff as always. 2 balls, 1 strike on Lynn. Chris Davis on deck, and we'll see Aramis Ramirez.
So if your starting catcher is out and you're the emergency catcher, aren't you actually the backup catcher now?
Here's Jay. Let's come up with it. Almost a great play by John Jay. And he fires it back into Peralta, and a leadoff double for Lynn. Well, you're in the conversation, put it that way.
I mean, don't you just get to take the emergency off? I mean, he is the backup catcher today, is he not? There's the attempt by John Jay. Went a long way for that good effort. Jay's been playing very, very good defensive center field this season. I thought he was terrific a year ago and almost took that hit away from Lind, who now has 7 doubles on the season, and he's been one of those pleasant surprises for Milwaukee. One of the players living up to his normal career stats. Very few of the other players are.
Now Davis pops one foul. As a matter of fact, Ron Renicky said in his estimation 20 of the 25 on the roster currently are playing below where they normally are and expectations.
And interesting, the owner was on their broadcast a couple of days ago, and he said only 2 were. So his number's even a little bit more harsh in terms of his grading.
Carpenter makes the play and staying put at second base. Lynn. Ricky, even that pitch right there, that's a pitch by design to get him to reach, roll over, hit a ground ball. You keep the man at second.
And as a hitter, you got to keep your hands back and find a way to hit that ball to the right side. I mean, the number of little things that the Brewers have done wrong already as we're playing just in the bottom of the second inning are what adds up to losses. They don't catch a ball in center field. A leadoff walk by Peralta kind of got things going. An errant throw led to a run. Not backing up third made it worse. A missed pop-up.
A liner that's caught, and it's a double play. And running into an out.
Add that to the list.
Peralta to Wong, the double play. Purchase a special theme ticket to Bud Bash and get an exclusive bobblehead and autographs from the 1985 nationally champion Cardinals. And don't miss, coming up on May 5th, slugger Jack Clark. For a full schedule of players and to see when they'll be there, just head to cardinals.com/budbash. Truly one of the great trades in the 80s to bring Jack Clark to St. Louis. It was a 1-for-4 deal with the San Francisco Giants. As you get a look at Jason Hayward. Biggest names in that deal going the other way were Dave LaPointe. David Green was a part of that deal.
Jose Uribe, who was Jose Gonzalez before he got traded. Then he became Jose Uribe. Played shortstop for the Giants for a number of years. It actually helped them, too. It helped the Giants, but it really helped St. Louis.
60-plus home runs in 3 years for Jack Clark, and a memorable one. Game 6 in Los Angeles, 1985. It's chopped to the right side by Jason Hayward. Peralta to the bag, and he's 1 for 2. So a leadoff double in the bottom of the second for Milwaukee, and the way that things have gone, he never left second base. Ground out. Davis couldn't advance him, and then the double play hit off the bat of Aramis Ramirez. That's the way things are going right now for Milwaukee.
Well, it's very frustrating for Ron Renicky, but you think about Willie Peralta, too, who probably deserved a little bit better in the second inning. Didn't get helped out defensively, and then his offense shows some life, but they don't kind of get back in the game. And you just know, if you're Peralta, you're not going to have that many chances against Adam Wainwright. You try not to think about what the other guy's doing, but clearly you know what your team's doing and how good Wainwright is. You have to find a way to block that out, because it can be very, very frustrating for a pitcher.
0-1 is a foul ball. Holiday broke his bat first time up and flying to center field. In the hole, 0-2. Slowly hit, and Segura is there for the out. Missouri Lottery Foxtracks.
Late moving fastball hits that corner, down and in, jammed Holiday a bit. I think there are a lot of times where Matt catches up to that particular location in that pitch. He was just a little bit late on.
Likes the ball low. We've seen that. Here's Peralta, and the first pitch is taken for a ball outside. Johnny grounded out to short first time up, 0 for 1.
You know, Dan, I stick by what I said, that Willie Peralta, despite winning 17 games a year ago and being arguably the best pitcher that the Brewers had, but I still believe he can be better. I think his stuff dictates that he could be top 4 or 5 pitcher in the National League at some point. And I think we've seen evidence tonight about how little things just get him into trouble, and gives up a couple of runs and hurts himself, gives up a fair amount of hits, too, for a guy with that good of stuff.
A base hit into right for Peralta.
The shift is on for Peralta. And playing him to pull, which he does quite a bit, but he does a little Matt Holiday impersonation and drives the ball the other way. There are hits on that side of the field, too.
And now it's Reynolds. Walked and scored back in the second inning, and that crazy play with Colton Wong. Bounces that to third, force play at second. And it sends us to the home half of the third. 2-0 St. Louis. for his annual mission trip. And Water Missions International. Here's some of the pictures that he came back with. And they helped build a water treatment plant, 21 water stations, 120 latrines in a Honduran village of about 1,500 people. And he said it was emotional, incredible. That's Scott Linebrink. You may remember him. He was a former Major League pitcher that went with Adam and made sure that they were part of this. But the stories that he tells about it, just incredible, as Gomez leads it off. He said kids who used to suffer from stomach aches now go out and play and have normal lives. He said literally about 80% of the kids dealt with dysentery and various issues of disease. He said the community members were so generous to him. It was a good breaking ball. But they have meat or chicken only once a month in that community. He said they served it to them every meal as a show of appreciation. And his goal with Wayno's World and fantasy football, which is being done by all different cities. He's got players all over the country to do it, but he wanted to make sure that people could see it. You could go to his website, and he wanted to make sure that people knew that that money is going to a great cause.
The website, I believe, is bigleagueimpact.com. And when Adam talks about the needs that he's meeting there, I mean, he really just lights up, Dan. And as he did there with that fastball up in the zone, striking out Gomez. But Adam has a lot to say about the follow-up that they do as well. And it really changes their entire quality of life. Way out of the zone there. And that must have been a weakness that they picked out on Hector Gomez. You don't normally see Adam work that high in the zone, but I think they kind of had a sense that he might go chasing, and he got his man.
He said that the water was so poor that it was like drinking and looking at chocolate milk. That's how dirty it was for the families and the kids. And so by putting in the clean water that they can, it's, in their opinion, and through Water Missions International, saving thousands of lives. Maldonado off the end of the bat and a foul ball, but just head to his website, see some of the examples, and hopefully corporations and fans who are watching across the country will make a donation and realize it is going to a great cause. And also you can play fantasy football against these guys, which is a lot of fun too.
bigleagueimpact.com.
We were in Washington and he was taping a PSA with Max Scherzer, who was doing that with the Washington Nationals. He's got Clayton Kershaw involved, Skip Schumacher, I believe maybe David Freese out in Los Angeles. Not positive on that one, but a number of players. Skip Schumacher's another one.
Neil Walker, I think, is another that he's talked to, and I think Adam is the kind of guy, and if you're around Adam, you know that that's from his heart. I mean, he's not trying to get anything other than, not trying to get publicity, anything about him, and it really isn't about him. He's trying to serve people. Adam will actually be speaking at an event for Fellowship of Christian Athletes on the 1st of May, and he has about 1,500 athletes who will be meeting together at the ballpark, playing the Pirates that night.
Frozen with a breaking ball, strikeout number 3. The Kia in the driver's seat, and Wainwright, as I spoke of earlier, enjoys pitching against Milwaukee. 2.44 ERA. He's been around so long, he's getting close to 30 starts against the Milwaukee Brewers.
Some pretty heady stuff when you're looking on leaderboards and you see names like Jim Palmer and Roger Clemens. Doesn't really matter what the stat is. I think it's just fun for a player to realize that you're starting to be mentioned in the same category as them.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Willie Peralta. FCA night, you are the director of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes in St. Louis, and that's coming up, as you said, May 1st. That is next Friday, so we're under a week away, and you can get your tickets at Cardinals.com. Stepped on the bag is Mark Reynolds, puts it away. BigLeagueImpact.com. Check it out. 2-0 St. Louis. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. How about that?
I had both of those baseball cards, by the way.
I do too. Bob Uecker and Mike Shannon, part of the '64 championship team in St. Louis. There's Mike Shannon, Jim Jackson, John Rooney. I wonder if Bob is feeling more like Harry Doyle with the way that the Brewers are playing.
It's interesting how straight he does the games. You've heard him do games.
Yeah. He's great.
And I always expect him to go into Harry Doyle more, but he really doesn't. And yet, when we're around him, he's got all those stories, and he's such a fun and likable guy to be around.
Always smiling.
And I know he appreciates his connection with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Very much so. He was telling me before the game about fishing with Mike Matheny when 9/11 hit. We were here in Milwaukee as Wong pops it up. And Ramirez wants it. And we were talking about fishing. We both enjoy it. Bob does a lot of fishing. The Great Lakes that they have in this area. And he said, matter of fact, I was with Mike Matheny the day that 9/11 hit. And very, very emotional. He said, being out there hearing the news, and then all of a sudden the second tower was hit. He said it's a day that's very vivid still in his mind, along with many Americans. Remember where you were and what was going on.
Well, you were with the team as well at the
we
time
were
here in Milwaukee.
Yep. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Taken low by John Jay. It's such an odd time, too, because Major League Baseball did not come out for a good 24, 48 hours to decide what to do. So many teams were left in limbo. There's a base hit out to left. And then you had the situation where teams couldn't fly, obviously. So to get back to cities is all about driving and hard to get rental cars. Those are being used very, very quickly because of the situation of being able to get around. There's Tony Cruz, who doubled into the left field corner back in the second inning.
You know, Dan, one of the things that the Cardinals have to fight right now, and I would say 100% sure that it's going on in the mind of Mike Matheny right now, is almost this feeling of complacency that can come upon a team. You know, you're playing well, the other team's not. You won the first game of the series. You're off to a good start in this one. And it's so easy to just kind of just ease into the rest of the game and not kind of keep the pedal down. And the problem with that is anybody who's been around baseball long enough knows that this game can be humbling. Right when you think you're where you need to be, something turns around. There's a 4-run Brewers inning. You lose a game and you say, what happened? I mean, that honestly, that happens every night somewhere in big league baseball.
Could be two. Out at second, and the double play. Jay going in hard. Good clean baseball at second base. 2-0. Midway through 4. Wainwright has been very efficient. The T-Mobile game changer. This is game changing. What do you think about what the starting pitching and the pitching overall for the Cardinals has done this year?
And we're looking at 12 or more quality starts in the first 15 games of the season. The Cardinals have done it 12 times this year. When you go back to 2010, the last time they had 12 or more. And the most was in 1982 when there was 13 out of 15. In 82, we know what that led to. Cardinals World Championship.
The team ERA 1.92 right now coming into play.
And by the way, time for a little more love for Derek Lilliquist, perhaps on a more global scale, maybe a national level in terms of the job he's done. Very kind of unassuming in some ways. He's very, I would say, direct, straightforward, a student of the game, kind of a simple communicator. And he's a simple communicator about a complex subject, which is being a big league pitcher. Good pitcher himself back in the day, but I think he has just done a terrific job following in some pretty big shoes.
Gene Segura fights it off at a base hit into right. He's 2 for 2 off of Wainwright. That was the point I made with Tim the other night, and he said the same thing that you're talking about. You know, we talked so much about Mike Matheny and filling the shoes, if you will, of Tony La Russa. But Dave Duncan, in terms of assistant coaches or coaches in this game, maybe none better than that man.
Well, his longevity was beyond anybody, and not just longevity, the success, the number of World Series teams he was associated with, and he too a terrific player as a catcher in his career, and really just the guru of pitching coaches.
Bunted in the air, and it's a double play. Holy smokes! The Brewers can't do anything right. Third double play they've hit into. And he can't believe it, and I don't blame him.
Dan, where's he going?
My only guess is that he thought maybe it hit off the plate and popped up.
But he sees it, it's right in front of him, and he's just not thinking. I mean, I have no idea what he could be thinking right now. The ball's up in the air, unless he thought Long was so far back. But again, you got to know that as a base runner, where everybody is positionally on the field. That's just bad base running.
My goodness. So 3 double plays turned, and here's Ryan Braun, and he looks at strike 1. The curveball looks sharp tonight.
Dan, athletes make mistakes under stress, but I think this is a team under stress.
Great point. Great point. Braun hit into a 5-4-3 double play in the first and the inning. In the second, Ramirez lined into a double play, but bad base running on Adam Lind. And now bad base running on Gene Segura. Man, oh man, oh man. Here's an 0-2. Curveball, and Braun hits it down the right field line and out of play. It's another 0-2. Swung on and missed. A strikeout of Braun. Some boos here in Milwaukee. 4 strikeouts for Adam Wainwright. Nothing St. Louis. Along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is also with us. And let's check in with Jimmy.
Dan, just a matter of time for Mitch Harris as he continues to wait to make his major league debut. He's been up in the pen twice, but hasn't gotten into a game. And as a guy who's been in some dangerous situations as a naval lieutenant, he's careful not to use the word nervous in regard to making his big league debut. He uses the word excited. Mike Matheny says he's also excited for Mitch to get that opportunity. He says there just hasn't been a situation that's been the right fit to this point. But, Dan, there's always a situation around the corner.
It's off the mask of Maldonado. Jimmy, before we say goodbye to you, tell our fans, you know, making a major league debut, obviously, you're going to be nervous, you're going to be excited. However, this young man has been through some things that put baseball on the back burner and a debut potentially. What's he done?
Well, he's been in the Middle East. He's been on an aircraft carrier. He's been in South America working in a sting involving a drug cartel. So he's been in some pretty crazy situations. So, again, not nervous in context about a big league debut. Excited. 29 years old. This kid's very mature because of what he's been through, Dan.
Popped up. Adam Lynn has it for the out. And Wainwright is limping. Oh, no.
Not exactly sure what Adam did, but a couple steps out of the box, and he started limping on that pop-up in the infield, and a very concerned Mike Matheny and Chris Conroy.
I wonder if there's something with his back.
Pops it up. Everything's fine here. He starts to run and then trips a bit, and then it's almost like
Achilles.
Boy, hard to say. Still very gingerly walking off the field. Hard to imagine him coming back out at this point. Wow.
We were just talking about Mitch Harris. You may see him now. Cardinals definitely will go to their bullpen, and
you see Yadier Molina following him in.
Oh my goodness. One out, and here is Carpenter. Good changeup there by Peralta.
Looked like Harris taking off his warm-up jacket in that wide shot we had, and it is.
You know, you get concerned when you see him like that, not be able to put any weight on it, slipping out of the box. Achilles. And I was thinking his back initially. I mean, obviously all speculation at this point, but man, that is the last thing the Cardinals want to see happen. It's Molina last night, and now Wainwright tonight. Carpenter slaps it the other way. That's a base hit.
Well, you think about the emotional drain that the Cardinals might be feeling right now, and we talked about how this game can change on a dime in so many ways, emotionally and team performance, and Cardinals are going to have to find a way to overcome that.
Takes the wind out of the sails, doesn't it?
Sure does.
12-game hitting streak now for Matt Carpenter. And here is Jason Hayward, who doubled down the right field line and also grounded out. Cardinals have Marco Gonzalez in the minor leagues. And again, I'm getting ahead of myself, but you do think of these things, just seeing the pain that Wainwright was in and how hard it was for him to even walk. But you've got Marco Gonzalez, you've got Potentially Jaime Garcia at some point. Marco is on the 7-day DL. Tim Cooney's been pitching down there. Again, getting ahead of ourselves, but it's something now that may be on the front burner.
Well,
hopefully not.
All those things you have to actually consider at the very least. And kind of awkward at him as he popped that one up. You saw him lean backwards, Dan, to look at the ball up in the air, and then he started to run quickly and make that transition forward, and something happened on a misstep. And we'll certainly let everybody know the minute we find out from the Cardinals the condition of Adam Wainwright.
And again, at this point, all speculation. We have no idea. Let's hope it's all going to be okay.
100%.
3-0 on Jason Hayward. 3 balls and 1 strike. Runner at first is Carpenter. Inning started with Wainwright popping up. Base hit to left by Carpenter. And now 3-1 on Hayward. Cardinals leading 2-0 as we play here in the top of 5. Carpenter started towards second, stopped, and they get the lead man. Well, Rick said last night the one player you could ill afford to lose, Yadier Molina. He took that foul ball, and he's out of the lineup tonight. Hopefully back in there tomorrow. And then tonight, the pop-up here with Adam Wainwright. Here's Holiday. Matt is 0 for 2. He's flied to center, also grounded out to short. Here's the 0-1 instead of check on Hayward. They almost threw that away.
Kind of a stunning moment, wasn't it?
Very much so. Here's the 0-1. And Hayward is back in safely. When you saw Wainwright initially do it, you think, well, maybe the back locked up. You know, he's had a tight back here and there, and then I saw him slip out of the batter's box, and then I get concerned about the Achilles, the calf, you know, that area. But again, it's all speculation at this point. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hayward back in safely again.
I think if you're the Cardinals front office right now and the Cardinals management, you're racing through your brain to kind of plan for the worst but hope for the best. I think that's kind of the way you have to approach it.
On the inside corner, Holiday didn't like it. The check on Hayward, and he's back in safely. They're awfully concerned with Hayward, aren't they?
They really are. Got a nice lead. It's a base stealer's lead. When you think about guys that get on base, Dan, and just kind of stand there. They stand straight up. They're kind of just there. But Hayward is in the ready position, daring Maldonado to throw, who likes to throw from behind the plate. But he wants to draw some attention. He wants people to be concerned about him. That's what good base stealers are. He's crouched low. He's got his knees bent. Arm dangling in front of him. He wants to get that quick first step.
The 1-2 in the dirt.
So how do you get that quick first step? You practice it. And that's what he did right there. He's waiting to see if Peralta makes a move to first. He's ready to go back. But the minute he's convinced he's going home, he's going to make that quick move to his right and turn it into a secondary lead if he's not going. But you're just trying to figure out what that pitcher is doing.
How many times, Rick, have we seen a pitcher be so concerned about the runner, all of a sudden leaves one up to Holiday? All for naught. That time, nasty pitch, and Hayward was running. The strikeout of Holiday. Mitch Harris coming on. And this season, opponents, what they've done with runners in scoring position, and the Cardinals have been remarkable.
We've talked about how good the pitching has been overall, but particularly the starting pitching. And this is part of the reason, Dan. Cardinals have found ways to get out of the little jams that they've had. They've just been terrific. Waka, 1 for 19 opponents. Carlos Martinez 0 for 13. You can hardly get better than that. And how about this moment right here? Our Chevy call to the bullpen. Mitch Harris making his major league debut.
A graduate of the United States Naval Academy. The 29-year-old Mitch Harris, major league debut. And it's believed that he is the first U.S. Naval Academy graduate to appear in the majors since pitcher Nemo Gaines did it back with the Washington Senators in 1921. Congratulations, Mitch Harris. What a moment. And the first pitch by Harris in the big leagues, a strike
at 95.
He was telling me the other day, as Adam Lind is the first man to hit in the inning for Milwaukee. Popped up. Out of play. He said if the seas were calm, he would grab a baseball on the flight deck of the USS Hans. And he said that was his field, basically the Persian Gulf his stadium, and a Dominican cook his throwing partner. And he said the cook was the only one he could trust that might catch it because he was afraid to hurt everybody else.
Well, when he was in college, he had one of the best fastballs in all of college baseball and missed his chance, obviously, to sign out of college to serve. And when he came back at, I guess, 27, he's 29 now, that just doesn't work. You lose those years to baseball, and you just very rarely can come back and get your velocity back. But he has.
A strikeout, the first hitter he faces in the major leagues. Mitch Harris welcome to the big leagues. You've more than earned it.
I'll say. Off-speed pitch. What a moment. Dan, we saw Mitch come up from a minor league game a couple of years ago, and he came into a tough situation. And Mike Matheny brought him in, and it's like he wanted to honor him, and he got beat up that spring training game. And you kind of thought, wow, this is tough. He was throwing about 86 miles an hour.
I remember.
And you thought, boy, this is not the guy that used to throw 95 or anywhere close to that. And Mike wanted to give him the opportunity, but felt kind of bad about it later, like, boy, I just made this road back even harder for him. But it shows you what kind of fortitude Mitch Harris has.
4 years, 8 months in the Navy, but always kept his professional baseball dreams alive. He graduated from the academy in 2008. 3 deployments on 2 ships to Russia, South America, and the Middle East. So very tough for him to keep his arm in any kind of shape. He's from Mount Holly, North Carolina. It's not the mission of the Naval Academy to cultivate pro athletes. The priority is to be commissioned as an officer, but when someone does this, it is wonderful for the Academy. Few and far between. And his teammates, man, they have been pulling for him in a big way. Here's a 2-2. And Davis lines it foul. The students at the Naval Academy, they do have the option to leave without penalty at any point during their first 2 years. But give Mitch Harris a lot of credit. He was determined to stay. Actually was selected in the 24th round by the Atlanta Braves, and then the 13th round by the Cardinals in 2008. He did that, the Cardinals did, on the off chance that the Navy would grant him an early release from his commitment. A little bit high, and it's a walk to Davis. Mitch was also telling me that he has a former teammate, Oliver Drake, who's now a prospect with the Baltimore Orioles. How do you not pull for Mitch Harris? I have goosebumps watching him right now.
I have a longtime neighbor that served with him on one of his ships and said all he ever talked about was baseball.
Is that right? Chopped foul by Aramis Ramirez. Harris is into the game because of the injury to Adam Wainwright. At this point, we don't know what that injury is. When we get word, we'll make sure that you know about it. Mitch said he had about 20 to 25 family members and friends at the ballpark in Washington. He's still a member of the Navy Reserves. Which is attached to the U.S. Southern Command in Florida. So what he's able to do, he can clump his regular training requirements into one 4 to 6 week period in the winter. And he's got 1 year left on his current set of orders. Right now, he's a major leaguer. Left center, and it drops. Little bloop hit.
How many of those has Aramis Ramirez had against the Cardinals?
It's either those or the ones that go over the wall.
Right.
Quarter of a phone charger is coming up, presented by AT&T. 25,000 fans entering with a ticket. That'll be our FCA night as well at the ballpark on Friday, May 1st. So 2 on for Hector Gomez. I can't imagine the emotions right now for Harris's mom and dad, as Jim Hayes had the chance to visit with them the other day. They were in the ballpark in Washington. He said Mitch never doubted it. He said sometimes it crept into his mind and our minds that maybe this isn't for him, but he persevered.
Well, Dan, I think your point's a good one there, that it's not just about Mitch. I mean, certainly this is a great achievement for him to reach this level, but you think about all the people that have been a part of his life, and I think about that every time a guy makes his big league debut, maybe more so because of who he is and what he's done, but the number of people that have served with him, gone to school with him, been his neighbors, been his friends, family. I mean, it's a great victory for them, too, for supporting him along the way.
Fly ball into center. Out number 2. And here's a question now, Rick. He's had 16 pitches. If you're Mike Matheny, you're saying, boy, you just love to have that one scoreless inning, let him get his feet wet, and then maybe move on. But at this point, with the way the bullpen's been used, we talked about it earlier, especially with Rosenthal and Walden. You know, Mitch Harris may have to give you a couple innings here tonight. Maybe more, who knows? You do have Villanueva out there.
And he's the guy that you normally think of as the extended guy. And Mike Matheny was talking to us about Villanueva the other day, and he said that he doesn't really like to bring him in first, because he's always fearful of that extra inning game when you've got to have a guy that's going to be willing to go out there for 4 or 5 or more innings if you have to. Kind of the end of the line guy, and he believes that Villanueva is that guy.
Pulled foul. Here's an 0-2 pitch from Mitch Harris. The fly ball. Wong is there. Mitch Harris, a scoreless inning in the big leagues. Lance Lynn and Mike Fiers. Lynn 1-1, Fiers 0-3. Will come your way tomorrow at 12:30. The word we get from the Cardinals, left ankle, and will be evaluated tomorrow and when we get back into St. Louis for Adam Wainwright.
Probably all the Cardinals do know right now, including Adam Wainwright. It's one of those deals that you'll see how you feel tomorrow and the next day. And I know some anxious moments for Mike Matheny, trying to figure out how he's going to get a few more innings out of his bullpen right now than he had kind of planned as things started there in the 4th inning. But it's why it's a team game.
Johnny Peralta 1 for 2. That's driven out to deep right field. Ryan Braun back off his glove and to the wall. And Peralta trotting into second base with a leadoff double here in the top of the 6th.
And there's another hit the other way for Johnny Peralta. And another ball that's almost caught by a Brewer. Can't fault Ryan Braun on this play, but this is how their series and season has been going. Just an inch or two short every time. Well hit the other way by Johnny.
So leadoff double. Here's Mike Reynolds. Walked and scored in the 2nd and hit into a fielder's choice. Here's a 1-0. Chopped foul.
Feels like a different game with Wainwright out of it, doesn't it?
Really does.
There's something about him and his presence, and when he's in lockdown mode, and he certainly was pitching that way through 4 innings. He retired the minimum number of batters. He gave up 3 hits. Again, 3 outs on the bases for the Brewers, as we saw here last night. And again, just a different feel right now. That 2-0 lead doesn't seem quite as insurmountable.
Sure. No activity in the Cardinals pen yet. We'll see if Mitch Harris has one more inning. Here's a 2-1 pitch to Reynolds. Colton Wong on deck. Couldn't agree more, though, Rick. You're spot on. I mean, when you got Wainwright, and it goes beyond just this game too. You know, you start thinking, oh boy, you know what's. Hopefully, hey, he may not miss a start. We don't know, but the way that he was limping off, you get very concerned.
Well, the season is often filled with moments like this. You know, I think the Cardinals withstood yesterday a punch to the gut when Molina went down.
Sure.
And then you get another punch to the gut today with Wainwright leaving the game early. And again, both things may not be very serious and kind of might move on, but it certainly makes you pause a bit.
Three and 2 the count on Reynolds. Runner at second is Peralta. And it's swung on and missed. A strikeout for Peralta of Mark Reynolds. Strikeout number 3. Stay cool all summer in a performance t-shirt with a unique Cardinals logo on Sunday, May 3rd. So a week from tomorrow, when the Cardinals take on the Pirates, 25,000 fans 16 and older will take home this one-of-a-kind shirt. And tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions.
I like the look we had of Derek Lilliquist in the Cardinal dugout. Still kind of very just the same guy. Kind of nonplussed. okay, Wainwright's not in. We'll just kind of move on. And the coaches become important pieces to this puzzle right now to kind of overcome some injury situations and being positive, remaining kind of calm and showing your leadership. Again, you know, that's not a worried look right now on the face of Derek Lilliquist.
Runner at second. Here's Colton Wong. Brewers' opponents, by the way, have scored first in 12 of 18 games. They are 0-11 in those games so far this year. Cardinals scoring first again tonight with a 2-run lead. Pick off to second, into center field it goes. Throw to third. And that ball scoots away. But Peralta stays put at third base. And now, with a fly ball, Peralta can tag up and make this 3-0.
Maldonado likes to throw, but he airmails that one. Parra likes to throw and almost threw that one away. I wonder, that ball doesn't hit Johnny Peralta, it might go into the Cardinals dugout again.
And the Brewers have to pull the infield in. Some more hitting lanes here for Colt Wong, who has tripled tonight, scored a run and an RBI. 1 ball, 1 strike on the Cardinals' second baseman. The next to Colt Wong with the infield in. 1-2. Ultimately, it's on the players. They're the ones that are out there. But when you see sloppy play, many times it falls on those that are your coaches and your managers throughout baseball.
Well, they feel it.
I'm sure they're feeling some heat right now. The 1-2 in the dirt. Nice play by Maldonado. You know, it's the manner in which they've lost games and how they played, in particular last night and again tonight. Now, this game, it's only 2-0 and certainly a long way to go, but they have put the Cardinals in this fortunate position of having this lead.
You look at the full body of work of Ron Renicky and you say he's done a great job with Milwaukee. 96 win season his first year.
And Wong a strikeout.
And I would say he's managing differently than he was 4 years ago.
Yeah, this is his 5th season as a manager, all with the Brewers. And he's 5th on the all-time franchise list for wins. Number 1 is Phil Garner. And they may walk John Jay here. Jay, good numbers against Peralta. With his base hit in the 4th, he's now 9 for 28. They'd rather deal with Tony Cruz.
Peralta almost threw that first pitch away. Some would say this is the most, I would say, maybe the least interesting thing about baseball, an intentional walk, but it's not interesting until somebody throws one away. Then it gets very interesting.
Right.
The odd part for a pitcher, and it's just a little thing, but you're throwing to a target where there's nobody. I mean, so you're actually, you're so used to hitting the glove, and you're kind of just throwing it way outside, and you're taking something off of it. And a lot of times you'll throw a little sailor.
UMB Champions Club, already Busch Stadium's hottest ticket, and now new for 2015. Fans can enjoy a 3rd full-service bar, plus a new outdoor patio and expanded seating. Get your tickets at Cardinals.com/all-inclusive. So runners at 1st and 3rd for Tony Cruz. Matt Adams has grabbed a bat, moved to the on-deck circle. Right-hander is throwing in the Cardinals' pen. I believe that's Matt Belisle. Cruz 1 for 2 with a double down into the left field corner back in the second inning. And that's ball 1. Peralta nearing 100 pitches. Very well could be his final inning of work. His spot is due up first, looking ahead for the Brewers in the home half of the 6th. Here's a 1-0. One ball, one strike. Cruz didn't like that call. One ball and 2 strikes.
Peralta has not had an easy inning yet.
Runners at first and third. A long look by Willie Peralta. Now he's set. Pitch number 100. Here it comes. Cruz hits a ground ball to short. Segura to Gomez at second base. Cardinals strand 2. They've left 6 on tonight. Midway through 6, 2-0 St. Louis. You caught up. 13 other Major League games in action today. That includes Matt Harvey and A-Rod in the Subway Series, plus 4 NBA games, 4 NHL games, and 5 teams could be eliminated. Jay and Dan have highlights from every playoff game tonight on Fox Sports 1. We'll see it simulcast right here on Fox Sports Midwest following Cardinals Live. So Mitch Harris out for a second inning of work. Scoreless first big league inning.
Well, it's really, Dan, a terrible pun, and don't really mean to say it this way, but in some ways Harris needing to right the ship here. I mean, that's really what he's doing. I mean, again, it's a pun, but it's really his job, with Wainwright being taken out after 4 innings. And one of the things that everybody talks about Mitch Harris is his leadership and his example. And part of the reason that you keep him at a low level in the minor leagues when he's 27 and 28 years of age is because you like what he's teaching your young players that are his teammates.
And now we'll see the Brewers pen as well. This is Elian Herrera, who's pinch hitting for Willie Peralta. He came into the series having hit .439 in 20 games against the Cardinals. 3-0. And Herrera is every bit of the description of a utility man. He's already played 6 different positions. Brock Holt, the only player since the start of last year to have played more. He played 7 with the Red Sox. There's a strike, 3-1. Leadoff walk. So the second walk issued by Mitch Harris. Lowest team ERA this year. The Cardinals, remarkable 1.92 at the start of play tonight.
And look at the difference between the Cardinals and the other teams on this list that are just over 3, and the Royals just under 3. I mean, this is a historic start for the Cardinals. Only 32 runs in their first 15 games. No Cardinal team ever has given up that few runs.
Gene Segura was 2 for 2 off of Wainwright. Adam faced the minimum through 4. And 3 double plays behind him.
And I mentioned that Willie Peralta did not have a simple 1-2-3 inning, but overall, you look at 6 innings, 2 runs, quality start for Peralta. Gave his team a chance, although the Brewers bullpen has been a bit of a mess so far this season.
Here's the 0-2 from Harris instead of Check.
We talk about their injuries, but one injury we haven't mentioned is Jim Henderson, their reliever, who has been an important part of their bullpen the last couple of years. He has a shoulder issue, so he's out.
0-2 the count. Good pitch in on the hands. Henderson, rehab assignment right now. He's at A-ball, dealing with a shoulder, as you mentioned. They hope to get him back. Oh, 0-2 pitch in the dirt. Walked by Cruz, and staying put, Herrera.
Cruz goes down to block it. You wonder if there's any thought in the mind of Herrera. I'm not getting thrown out. Not now.
One ball, 2 strikes. We'll do it again. They're trying to go on inside a few times here with Segura. They even did that with Wainwright.
The first hit that Segura had was a pitch that was inside, and Adam thought he could sneak it in on him, and his hands were too quick for that and turned on him. Drove it past Carpenter. He looks a lot better at the plate this year than he did a year ago. Agreed. I wouldn't say the same thing about him defensively.
Agree with that as well.
Oh, 2 for 2 this inning.
It's a miracle. How about a double play? 4, 6. And out at first, 3. Yeah, we may have a challenge here. Milwaukee has challenged 3 different times against the Cardinals so far this season. They've won all 3. Ron Renicky is not even going to the top step. We have a moment. How about the Nationals, Rick? They lose 8-0 today. They are now 7 games out of first place.
There's the turn. He's safe.
Yes.
I think the Brewers are going to win this. On the bag, very close. But I think that's going to go against the Cardinals. Well, Milwaukee, and again, it's very early, Dan. And we don't want to jump ahead and make conclusions of a whole season based on 15 games, but the Brewers are already 9 games out.
They show the replay on the board here at the ballpark, and that's why you hear that reaction from the crowd.
That's why you never, in this day and age, do your scorebook in pen.
Or, as I do, you just wait. Have a little patience, Rick.
I don't like that option.
It's okay. That was nearly the 4th double play turned by the Cardinals tonight. And now here's Parham.
Just 47 seconds on that review, by the way. I think the review process has sped up a little bit. And the early returns on the speed of play, Dan, were maybe 8 minutes or so faster, the average major league game. So I think it's been effective and good overall, but I think the reviews have been quicker.
I just felt last year there were times when, and I think the play that we just saw is a good example, clearly safe, and it just took too long. When you see it once and you know it's not a close play, just make the call and move on.
Now, if there's one that you have to look at multiple angles of the play to kind of get a little bit more clear proof, I understand that. And again, there's conversations with multiple umpires going on, and I'm not sure I knew that initially, but as the season unfolded, we found out that when the play is called into New York, there's a head guy on that particular game, but then he gets input from others in the room and ultimately makes the decision. Umpires that happen to be off that day and have that review duty. But I just think they've worked out the technology bugs a bit too.
Over long and into right. So base hit for Parra. And it brings in Ryan Braun. Will Harris stay in this game to face Braun?
Segura was not going to get doubled off again. He wanted clear and convincing proof that ball was going to right field.
We will have a double switch. Peter Borges coming in the game for John Jay. And Matt Belisle coming in when we come back. seen an apparent injury to Adam Wainwright in this game. A major league debut from Mitch Harris. Cardinals have a lead of 2-0. 2 runners on, 1 out. And Ryan Braun in to face Matt Belisle and the Hyundai pitch arsenal from a year ago.
Fastball, slider, curve, and changeup. The 4 pitches out of the bullpen for Belisle, who began his career as a starting pitcher. So you'd think of him as a 3 or 4 pitch pitcher, but has found a home in the bullpen. There's the double switch. Borges in center field.
So Borges goes to the 9th spot in the lineup. He'll be due up second for the Cardinals. And Braun looks at a pitch down and in. Matt Belisle appeared in 1 game in Washington, had a scoreless inning, and he has been a workhorse in his career. 65+ appearances in each of the last 5 years. The 1-0.
The other thing you like about Belisle, despite the 2-0 count here, is he's been a strike thrower. He works quickly, like a lot of Cardinal pitchers do. As we travel around, you really notice the difference, the pace of most of the Cardinal pitchers. He's not quite Seth Maness, but he does work quickly.
Yeah, Maness is at a different level than anybody. The 2-0. Good pitch to Braun.
Fastball count. Braun thought he was getting a fastball, but he wasn't. Little slider. Would have been ball 3, but he read fastball and didn't see the spin.
The 2-1 pitch to Braun. Here it comes. And it's now 2-2. The 2-2 pitch to Ryan Braun with 2 runners on. Old foul.
Well, Ron's guessed wrong on a couple of pitches in this at bat, and you have enough respect for him. You just hope he doesn't guess right. And guess may not even be the right word. I think anticipate is a little shorter than of maybe a full-fledged guess, but certainly he's anticipating something either in or away, off-speed fastball, and Belisle needs a pitch here.
The 2-2. Punch him up. He did. He got the call. Dale Scott makes you wait a little bit. But I think those fans are happy.
I think it's your influence, Dan. I think he heard you. Is it a strike or not? Sure it is. Just barely. The whole baseball doesn't have to be in the strike zone. You just have to nip one of those corners.
Dale Scott is turning into Frank Drebin. Next time he's going to start moonwalking.
Every time you bring up that movie, it makes me want to watch it again.
There's Adam Lind. Two on and 2 outs. Belisle gets a huge strikeout of Braun. And that's strike 1.
A little surprised that this is not Randy Choate right here.
Agreed. I guess
it is just the 6th inning.
And I think if you're Mike Matheny, you're maybe going into this game hoping or knowing that you're not going to use Rosenthal or Walden. So you become shorter out there. That's part of the equation. You've already used Harris. That's fouled back. The Cardinals on their bench have Yadier Molina, Adams, Borges now in the game, and Cosma's your emergency catcher.
You could almost see. No, he's your backup catcher.
Oh, he's the backup tonight. Okay.
Isn't that right?
Yachty's available potentially. Starts moonwalking and punched him out. Ho, ho, ho. Belisle comes in and strikes out 2. Right now, the moonwalk. There it is. Boom, boom, boom. Home run. The Gateway Honda dealers will donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So Peter Borges, we'll see him after the return of a brand new baby, and everybody's healthy. Peter was telling me, and said 2 nights ago he finally slept. So I said, get used to it.
Changes your perspective a little bit, doesn't it?
Oh man, does it ever. What a blessing it is.
All parents know that, just what that feeling is like with a newborn. And Will Smith, our Chevy call to the bullpen, has been busy. Appearance number 8 for him. And nice to see kids out at the ballpark.
Strike 2, Peter Borges. And a ground ball to second. 1 away. Matt Carpenter trying to make it 12 multi-hit games. A base hit to left in the 5th. Grounded out to short, hard hit ball, and also was called out on strikes.
You know, sometimes we focus on hit or not hit, but I mean, there are good at bats that don't always result in a hit. When you think about that ground out to short on that well hit ball, that's just a good at bat. You just hit it right at somebody, and that's what Carpenter is doing night after night in the early going. Just good at bats. Talked about his slugging percentage in the early going, his on-base percentage, both high. So the OPS through the roof.
0-1 pitch. I've seen more and more, I would say, in the last maybe 10 to 15 at bats with Carpenter. First pitches have been off-speed pitches. League making that adjustment. He's been more aggressive early in counts.
Oh yeah. Well, it doesn't take long for the league to find out.
No secrets. Here's the 0-2. Taken high, 1-2.
John Mabry was talking about that a week or so ago, about how you just can't hide in this game anymore. The video is out there, and even on minor league players, and You know, there are most teams will employ a dozen or so, or up to a dozen people just to work in the technology part of the operations of a ball club, where they're just kind of amassing video of the opponents.
That's well hit into center field. Far up back, and he won't get that one over his head. It's another multi-hit game, and with that, another double for Matt Carpenter, who is up to 10 this year. You were talking about it earlier, but Parra plays a little bit further in than Carlos Gomez, and Gomez may have gotten to these two balls. You don't know, maybe.
About the crack of the bat by Carpenter, you know he hits it on the nose. I agree, Dan. I think there have been 2 or 3 balls in center field that Gomez catches, and that's not necessarily, I'm not criticizing Gerardo Parra. I'm just saying Gomez is that good. Parra's a good outfielder too, but Gomez really covers ground in the outfield. He has tremendous speed in the outfield.
Here's Hayward.
Dan, I don't know if you noticed it, but I saw Enrico Palazzo over there by the Brewers dugout. I believe he's going to be singing "Roll Out the Barrel" in between.
Is that right?
For the 7th inning stretch.
Oh. Here's a 1-0 to Hayward. I don't get much past you, do I?
No, you don't. You may think you do.
Here's a 1-0. And a breaking ball, take it low. 2-0.
You know what's funny, Dan, is, and obviously we love Cardinal baseball and love talking about the game, but there's a lightness to this game, and it's not. It wouldn't be unusual for that kind of conversation to be going on in the Cardinals bullpen right now. I mean, it's part of baseball. It's part of the world. And then sometimes you're mad, like Ron Renicky right there.
The 2-0.
But the stories you tell in the bullpen, and we see Wainwright kind of front and center on a lot of the humor that the Cardinals have and the lightheartedness, but you have to be that way. You have to let off steam sometimes when you're upset, but you also have to kind of laugh about things too.
3-0. I got the feeling that Ron Renicky was close to getting tossed last night, and who knows, it may happen tonight, and it may be by design.
Well, that probably has as much to do with the Ryan Braun and the Adam Lind strikeouts than anything else.
You bet. 3-1 pitch, and that misses, low and away. When I say by design, just something to get his team going, get some life out there. Again, it's only a 2-0 lead, but the way that things are going for them, I'm sure it feels like 10-0. And Renicky will head back out to the mound and see if we get a pitching change here.
And he's going to get his 2 cents in again on the way.
Jeremy Jeffress to face Holiday when we come back. ejected.
Well, we talked about him getting his 2 cents in on the way out to the mound, but on the way back from the mound, he threw in a couple more dollars, and Dale Scott said, no more, no more, no more, and no more.
Mazda game summary 2-0 St. Louis. Cardinals have 2 runners on in this situation. Wainwright left with an apparent ankle injury is what the Cardinals are calling it. Colton Long 1 for 3 with a triple, run scored, RBI. And then Peralta 6 innings, their starter. Braun is 0 for 3 and a couple of strikeouts. Your Mazda game summary.
You know, knowing Ron Renicky a little bit as we look at the numbers of Jeremy Jeffress, appearance number 10 for him, so he too's been busy. He's our Chevy call to the bullpen. Ron Renicky is not the emotionally charged throw bats around kind of guy, and so it's not really his strong suit. It's not his personality. And you know, you talked about a team needing that right now. They almost need that to come from a player more than they need to come from their manager, because that's not him.
Holiday, well hit, right center, gone! 3-run bomb as he busts this baby wide open. His 16th career home run here at Miller Park. 5-0. And welcome to the game, Mr. Jeffress. First home run for Holiday. An opposite field shot into right center.
Well, when he hits him, Dan, there's not a ballpark in America that can hold Matt Holiday. Not in center field, not in right center. There's tremendous power.
Holiday 16 home runs now to tie Berkman and Derek Lee, and 3 back of Pujols. Opposing players at this ballpark as Peralta lines it back to Jeffress.
Well, here's the greeting for Jeffress. It's a hanging breaking ball, and there's the power the other way. That was a great look on how Holiday kept his body back and his hands back, but you could tell he saw it out of the hands. He could see the spin, and he was judging, and he waited, and he waited. You talk about patience. At times, even though the ball gets there quickly, you have to be patient and let the ball get into the hitting zone, and that's exactly what he did.
Now it's Reynolds. Mitch Harris could pick up a win. 5-0 Cardinals. And wouldn't that be something? Reynolds has walked and scored, rounded into a fielder's choice, and struck out.
If it happens, I want you to say at the close of the game that Mitch Harris, this one's for you.
Would be a nice touch, wouldn't it? Always have our This One's For You telecast. We'll have another one this year to honor the troops.
Occasionally, I like to write material for you.
Material this year is lacking. Or you use big words and I don't get that part either. So either way. Here's a 2-2. And Reynolds hits a fly ball into shallow right. Here comes Braun. And he makes the catch. Time to stretch. This sends a jolt through the crowd here in Milwaukee. Many of them here from St. Louis. The first home run for Holiday in 2015. road game watch parties at Fox Sports Midwest Live at Ballpark Village. Join Louie and the Fox Sports Midwest girls for giveaways, games, and you'll watch the Blues take on the Wild. Game 6 from Minnesota, and we hope to see you at Ballpark Village. I'd like to see the Blues back in St. Louis for one more game.
You bet.
Matt Holliday's made it 5-0 Cardinals. That's a fair ball, backhanded by Carpenter. Long throw to Davis. It brings in Ramirez.
Well, Dan, you talked about maybe Mitch Harris being in line for the win, but what about the job that Matt Belisle did to close out that 6th inning? At the time, it's a 2-run game.
Right.
He had those 2 strikeouts. Not an overpowering guy, but he was hitting his spots. And of course, according to Ron Renick, he wasn't hitting his spots, and he was getting the benefit of the calls. But there's a look at Harris. He can kind of relax now, and he can rightfully say, I have pitched in the major leagues. Last time I looked it up, Dan, there were about 17,000 plus. I mean, it's probably certainly more than that now, but maybe 19,000, 20,000 people who've played in the history of this game.
In the major leagues.
In the major leagues. And Mitch Harris is now one of them. Actually, that number was a little less than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Two-one pitch to Aramis Ramirez. Ramirez has said that this will be his final season. And it makes you wonder if he gets, and again, it's really early in the season, but if you get to, let's say, July, August, the team needs a bat, there's a base hit to left, and the Brewers are out of it, would he entertain the idea of potentially trying to finish up with a winner if the team needs a guy like Ramirez?
I don't know why he wouldn't. Pitch up and in. Another base hit for Ramirez against Cardinal pitching.
So 1-out hit, and it brings in Hector Gomez.
Always felt that was odd when a player would make that announcement before a season, Dan, that you know I'm going to feel a certain way 6 months from now, and this is my last season. And really, like any work, you make that announcement and you have one foot out the door, don't you?
I've always felt that way, yes. The players that do that. Hayward will make the catch. Two outs. And the batter will be Martin Maldonado. Last 5 times Cardinals have had this kind of start. Most recently 2008.
That 1981 record of 11-3-1 is a little misleading. It's not really a tie, but we're going to call it that. It was a game that was actually suspended in Chicago because of darkness. Second game of a doubleheader, and that 81 season was the strike shortened season, and they ended up playing, because of the strike, 2 halves. So they never made up that game, and so the stats count, but the game doesn't. And so we're just calling it a tie just for the sake of argument. But that was such an odd season. In fact, Whitey Herzog talked about that for years, as if the Cardinals really got the short end of that stick, and the Dodgers made out.
Right. He felt that was a good team.
But they followed it up in '82 with a terrific season.
Yes, they did. Here's a 1-1. On a hop to short and a flip to second. Matt Belisle, great work. Go to our studio in a Bommarito Sports Update. Rob Wooten is the new pitcher in for Milwaukee, our Chevy Colt to the pen. At 40 appearances a year ago.
Started out this season in AAA, and he was pitching in their new affiliate city of Colorado Springs, which is, I would say, the worst place to pitch in the country. And he had an ERA of over 7, and yet he got called up because really everybody did. And it's just every ball hit is a home run, it seems like, and they've gone to using a humidor there to try to make it as fair as possible in that ballpark. But that's the new affiliate for the Brewers. So when we see guys come up from this system, and he actually said that in the paper today, he said you almost can't look at the numbers. It's just so misleading about how well a guy's hitting on one side and also pitching on the other.
Interesting, isn't it? How you try to evaluate then?
It's very difficult. You have to trust your manager and your coaches and your scouts that see guys having good at-bats and making good pitches, but it's very, very misleading as far as the numbers are concerned.
1 ball, 1 strike. And then the flip side of that, and this is Colt Wong at the plate, you wonder about the psyche of a pitcher, and in particular a curveball, and what it does in the rarefied air or doesn't do.
And it's not just a curveball. I mean, a curveball's part of it. But even a slider or a changeup or a sinker, you're going to expect some movement that if you don't get, they're just basically slow fastballs.
Two and two.
Begins with the splitter grip. And you think that's easy to throw a baseball like that and control it? It's not. And then he makes the adjustment once he's in his glove, whether he throws a fastball or a splitter.
Wong strikes out. Plaza Tires, Fox Tracks.
Delivery up in the zone, and Colton just really swings right through that. Thought that was a pretty good swing. He just didn't make contact.
Matt Holliday, and now Adams is the pinch hitter, has had 5 years of 20 or more home runs. That home run he hit earlier tonight, home run number 272 of his career, so closing in on 300. A 3-run shot that made it 5-0.
Before I alienate any of my friends from Colorado Springs, I'm not sure there's a more beautiful place to spend the summer. I mean, it's just terrific. Pikes Peak. Formerly it was the Indians affiliate, and again, a great place to be unless you have to pitch there.
One and two on Adams. And Adams hits it sharply to second. From shallow right, Gomez puts him away. The shift was on there for Matt. And with that, there's 2 outs. You can't say enough about the job of Matt Belisle tonight. And again, it was the key spot, in particular because of who was up and only a 2-run lead. And he came in relief of Harris. And it was back-to-back strikeouts of Braun and Lynn. That was in the 6th to end the inning, and then a scoreless frame in the 7th.
Think about the emotional dagger that is for the Brewers fans, though, that have a chance. And they've got their 3 and 4 hitters against Matt Belisle in a 2-0 game and get called third strikes to for both of those guys, the third place hitter and the fourth place hitter. And I mean, just not what they expected, and not what they've gotten in the past. This team years ago, power threats up and down the lineup. They've got a ways to go.
The 1-1. Cruz, a ground ball in the hole at short. Segura. A 1-2-3, top of the 8th. St. Louis on top, 5-0. Gateway Honda dealers with this home run in the Gateway Honda dealers inning, and $1,000 is headed to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. 3-run home run. It is so cliche but so true. You never know what you may see when you come to the ballpark at any time, and over the course of a long season in these games. And Kevin Segrist takes over now, or Chevy Cole to the pen. And in this particular ball game, crazy start in terms of the Brewers running into trouble and running into outs. Cardinals, the concern right now is with Adam Wainwright, the severity of an apparent ankle injury. Mitch Harris making his major league debut. Tonight you're going to want to make sure and listen to and watch the postgame show. Jim Hayes will have, I'm sure, all the news with Mike Matheny and Adam Wainwright. Here's Luis Jimenez. A 1 pitch by Segrist. Mitch Harris could be your winner tonight, depending on how all shakes out. Here's a 1-1.
Good changeup from Kevin Segrist. Mike Matheny talking about Segrist developing his off-speed pitches to a much higher level this year. He likes his slider. He says he's throwing sliders that are breaking sharply. And the changeup, good. And the fastball, well, hard to catch up with.
First strikeout for Kevin Segrist. And hey, you were talking with Mike, and I was in there in that conversation as well, and he said he's just a tick off just a little bit mechanically, but he said he's right there, and he said we really are high on Kevin Segrist and what he's done so far this year.
Well, getting the command of the changeup, the pitch he threw before that, made that fastball look like it was 97. Now, he's not throwing 97 right now, but there's a changeup again. Now, you throw that for a strike, and the next pitch just looks faster. It just does. You wonder why do pitchers throw the ball slow? Why do they throw changeup? Why not just throw it as hard as you can every time? Well, you're trying to create the illusion of velocity and he gets in on the hands right there of Segura, who we've seen turn on that pitch today, but he's late on it. Well, why is he late? Because that changeup changed the expectation of the velocity out of the hand of Kevin Seagrist.
We go inside again on Segura, the 1-1. Pitch at 93. Now, you know, you go back to a couple of years ago, he was throwing 96, 97. But I think you would agree his breaking stuff and the changeup really wasn't there.
No.
Yeah. I think two out of play.
I do think part of the reason those pitches become so-so is because you don't use them when you go from starter to reliever as often. I think that happened with Carlos Martinez. I think he lost a little bit of the feel of his changeup out of the bullpen. I think it's happened to Trevor Rosenthal, who when he was younger was a three-pitch pitcher, but boy, when you're throwing 99 out of the pen, you just don't use your off-speed as much.
Lifted to left, and that ball will get down. 2 hops off the wall, and Segura, big night. 3 hits. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Dan, that last pitch from Seagrist, you could tell halfway through the delivery it was a changeup. I mean, he just slowed everything down. And with a changeup, you have to have the same body speed and the same rhythm, and then just let the grip on the baseball make it go slower. But you could see that one coming a mile away, and Segura was able to keep his hands back and drive it.
Here is Jason Rogers. So Schaefer and Centeno are left on the bench right now for Milwaukee. Rogers pinch hitting for Parra. That's well hit. Left center. Borges back at the wall, and just enough room.
Rogers is swinging the bat pretty well for Milwaukee, and I wouldn't be surprised if he starts to get a little more playing time, especially with an at-bat like that almost left the ballpark.
Ryan Braun is hit into a double play. Twice he is struck out. Key strikeout in the 6th inning with 2 runners on, and at that time only a 2-run St. Louis lead. Here's the 0-1.
I think an underrated part of Kevin Seagrist's repertoire a couple years ago was his precision and where he placed that fastball too. He really moved it in and out well and had terrific command. And really was just unhittable with one pitch.
2-1.
Very late on that swing was Ryan Braun. And boy, I wonder where that might have gone 3 or 4 years ago with Ryan Braun.
Here's a 2-2. He's had the suspension. Last year dealt with a hand injury. The money that they owe him, let's face it, he is a big part of this franchise for a lot of years to come. 3-2 pitch. Out of play. At first and third. Randy Choate coming on. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Randy Choate into the game for St. Louis. Chevy Cole to the pen.
Interesting that Mike Matheny's taking out one left-hander to bring in another one, and this is probably his reasoning. 1 for 18 is Lind against Randy Choate. The downside is if he doesn't get his man, you're going to have to use 3 pitchers to get 2 outs in a game you're already leading 5-0 in.
That may be the case. It's a base hit into center and a run scores. That run charged to Kevin Segrist. It's now 5-1. Chevy called to the pen, takes us to Seth Maness with runners at first and second. So again, the Cardinals have to go to their bullpen.
Cardinals running out of pitchers here. They have Villanueva left, and we've talked about Walden and Rosenthal maybe not being active today. I mean, they may be ready to throw an inning or so, but not much more than that with their work. And Chris Davis will be the chore of Seth Maness, who's looking for a ground ball and didn't get it.
Tying run will come to the plate. Things just got very interesting now. By the way, Randy Choate, Ricky's had 7 appearances. He's logged 1 inning. It's hard to do.
That is hard to do.
And now the base is loaded for Ramos Ramirez in one swing of the bat. And this game is tied.
Well, the thing you worry about with the Ramos Ramirez and Seth Maness is Ramirez is a good low fastball pitch hitter, and that's what Maness is good at. 10 grand slams in his career. Maness' job, if the guy likes it down, throw it lower. Make him beat it into the ground.
First pitch is a strike. Ramirez a couple of hits tonight. And the 0-1. Seth was telling me before the game that both his parents, who are school teachers, just retired. Said they'd never miss a game on TV.
Good for them.
In the air, deep left, and this ball one hops off the wall. 2-run score, and it's now 5-3.
There's the pitch. It's down in the middle of the plate. Low ball hitter.
I think for those at home, it's a curious move that we go back to. Segrist taken out of this game for Randy Choate. You saw the numbers that Lind had against Choate. I think it was 1 for 18. But at this point, that would be a question I'm sure that Mike Matheny will have to answer, regardless of how this turns out.
Well, I'm sure he's going to go to the numbers, and that's really what he was banking on. The downside, as we mentioned, was if he doesn't get his man, now you're stuck a bit with who you've got left in your bullpen for the duration. And of course, you're counting on Seth Maness to get his man. You were counting on Randy Choate to get his man beforehand. But when you use a left-handed specialist, and we talk about this all the time, you need 3 pitchers in that inning. And that's the frustrating part of not being able to stay with the guy longer.
Base hit could tie it up. Hector Gomez at the plate. Chops it to Carpenter. And a wide throw, but Reynolds is on the bag. Well, they may review this here momentarily, so we're going to stay right here. It's 5-3, and the players now been asked to stay on the field. We'll see if they do want to review this. Remember, Ron Renneke has been ejected in this game. Shaking his head as if to say no, and maybe going to the home plate umpire for a double switch. On the bag.
On the bag.
9th inning. We were just practicing going to break. This time it's for real.
Nicely done.
Chevy called to the pen Michael Blazek, the former Cardinal. He was the player to be named later for John Axford in the September deal of 2013. Logan Schaefer is at center field, so the backup catcher is the only player available bench-wise for Milwaukee.
Blazek was a starter in the minor leagues with the Cardinals and spent some time with the team in 2013, AAA all season a year ago for Milwaukee. But he has a live arm, has this nice slider, which he threw right there to Peter Borges. Cardinals, boy, a little insurance would be nice, wouldn't it?
Sure would. Blazek, you may remember, was demoted. Initially was called up, never was appearing in a game, and then was demoted for Michael Wacha, and then eventually made his major league debut with St. Louis. Here's Carpenter. So the Cardinals in their bullpen, they have Villanueva, Rosenthal, and Walden. And nobody getting loose, so Manus, the pitcher of record currently, can see him trying to attempt to get the final 3 outs. 1 out, nobody on. Matt Carpenter has had another good night. 2 for 4. A single to left and also a double. See him peeking there at Ramirez, the third baseman.
Way off the line. You watch the eyes of a hitter, and they like to survey the field, especially the guys that really have good bat control, because they're going to look where the outfielders are. And, you know, I think some people believe that players cannot direct a baseball. Well, they can, especially the good ones. They can keep their hands back a little bit, try to drive the ball the other way if they see a gap somewhere.
Just think about Tony Gwynn and how good he was at going the other way.
Perfect example.
Letting the ball get deep.
The old timer Wee Willie Keeler, famous for saying hit them where they ain't.
I mentioned this the other night when we were in Washington, but we had the Red and Lou speaker series, and I asked both of them who they enjoy watching now, and they said Carpenter, and Lou Brock compared Matt Carpenter to Pete Rose and Tony Gwynn. That's high praise.
I would agree.
And that's a strikeout.
Carpenter didn't like the call in his last at bat, and he doesn't like this one. And there's the frame job for Maldonado, kind of the soft hands bringing it on the outside corner. And Carpenter has a beef, but with a short bench, no time to talk about it.
Two outs, nobody on for Jason Hayward. Breaking ball and strike 1. Hayward has walked and also doubled tonight.
Manus, by the way, does have 4 career saves. And still no action for the Cardinals, so it looks like this is his game.
Seth was telling me he thinks his mom is still crying over his World Series appearances from a couple years ago. So proud of him. Fun guy to be around. A starter in the minor leagues and now has found a home in the bullpen.
Well, there's no question that moms have an extra feeling of tension when their son's out there on the world stage.
Understandable. Hayward strikes out. Good inning by Blazek. 5-3 St. Louis as we head to the bottom of the 9th. Cardinals baseball has been brought to you by Budweiser. Still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. Seth Maness back out to pitch. 8, 9, and 1 spots in the Brewers lineup. Cardinals leading 5-3. Martin Maldonado. Seth Maness told me that he learned this changeup from his roommate in college. He said he just taught him a little different grip with it. And it obviously worked for him, as it is a very good sinker and changeup that he possesses. Currently a 4 in golf. So he played more, he'd be a scratch. Grew up in Pinehurst, North Carolina. And actually worked on Pinehurst number 2, mowing lawns at some of the greens.
On number 2.
On number 2, where they played a championship a year ago.
That is an awesome place to play golf.
Well, tell Seth, thanks for keeping it nice for a while.
I didn't realize he worked there. I know he's got nerves of steel, and you can really imagine him doing a lot of things, including pitching in the 9th inning of the game. He's a confident guy. He doesn't have overpowering stuff, but he gets the job done somehow.
Logan Schaefer is out number 2, and the Cardinals are 1 out away. Cardinals can win this game, and there's Mitch Harris, our Budweiser player of the game. Milwaukee would already be 10 games out on April 24th. 10. 2 outs. Here's Segura. And a breaking ball for strike 1. Segura, a 3-hit night. 0-1 pitch. Here's a 1-1. Now 1-2. On 1-2. Taken low. The 2-2 hit out of play.
Maness working quickly as he always does, trying to get it done. 1, 2, 3 in the 9th for Mike Matheny.
A 2-2 pitch. Chopped to short. Peralta, low throw, and out, and the Cardinals win it 5-3. That's the call. Will it stand?
Well, at this point, don't you try it anyway?
What a pick there by Reynolds.
I mean, if you're the Brewers, what do you have to lose?
Sure.
Last out of a game. Great pick. Does he have control?
That'll be the question, I think.
He looks like he's out to me, but we all look at replays with our own lenses.
He is out. That's the call, and this game is over. The Cardinals are now 12-4 this year. Nice pick by Mark Reynolds. And on a night when Mitch Harris makes his major league debut, we say, this one's for you.
I knew you were going to say that.
Just had to wait a little bit.
It was perfect. A little anticlimactic with that last play, perhaps under review, but a nice Cardinal victory here today, and we'll have to wait on the report on Adam Wainwright, which of course is going to be a big part of this the news today, but also the Cardinals bullpen. Not only Mitch Harris, but the job that Matt Belisle did today.